Hey everyone, welcome back to the Walk to Wealth podcast. If you're tuning in on any of the podcast directories or YouTube, make sure to do yourself one teeny tiny little favor and make sure to give us a follow because I don't want you to miss out on any of the amazing guests we got coming on this year. Without further ado, I got a very special guest right here. This guy is one of the first business people I got to meet in the industry. Back when I got licensed in real estate back in like November-ish, October-ish. I got licensed in September 2021. Around October, November, I remember this guy teaching a webinar. I don't know if it was a power hour in the morning. We used to have a crusher call, like a 9 a.m. call, or if you taught an actual webinar on insurance. It's like, yeah, you got to make sure you have your business insurance so that if you're out with clients and something happens, you can't get sued. I'm like, hey, I don't want to get sued. I don't even got money to, if I were to get sued, I don't got no money to protect myself. So I ended up buying business insurance from him, ended up getting to meet in person. And man, over the past like 2.5 years, we've probably seen each other at, I don't know, like 50 plus events now. I don't know. I feel like I see you every time I go to events. So for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity yet to get to know you, to get to meet you yet, please give us your elevator pitch. Fabian, who are you and what do you do?
John, first of all, thank you for having me. I think I was around by the time episode 1 was just coming out. So congratulations to you, to your movement. You've definitely created a platform for professionals, for cool people just to connect with others and be able to share resources. So it's an honor to be here. And so I also want to apologize. I probably stood him up like 2 times for this podcast. So I want to put that out there.
He's a busy guy. But hey, you
got to get the work done.
100%.
That's my motto. People call me a networking king, but at the end of the day, the work has to get done. 100%. And I'm a firm believer in that. So it's an honor to be here today. Yeah. I'm Fabian Durango. I'm broker owner of Durango Insurance and Financial Services. I founded this company in 2003 at 23 years old. So I know exactly when I met you, the energy, the passion, some of the roadblocks, the judgment that goes into being a young professional in the market. So fast forward to 2024, my company's old enough to drink. We went from one little tiny office with one staff member next to me that could barely afford to being blessed by my community, my peers. We're now 5 retail locations. We also have amazing partnerships like the one we have with Keller Williams, your brokerage. And we have over 30 people who are part of our family, part of our team, who are able to service our clients. My success doesn't just come from being highly knowledgeable in insurance, which I will take credit for that. That's all I know. Don't ask me about anything else. But it goes into the relationships I built. Goes into the handshakes, goes into the friends I built over these past 21 years. I used to think business was never personal, and I met this Howard graduate, met me very young. He said, shook my hand. He's like, business is always personal. I didn't get to realize that till I realized people didn't just do business with me because they knew I was good, fast, overcame hurdles. It was because they liked me. I liked them. But I didn't realize it. I was 20-something years old. I was just laser focused on business. So that's my elevator pitch, is who you know, not what you know.
Yeah, Fabian is a prime example of, like, it's not, what you know, it's who you know that inevitably ends up, making you succeed, not just for the short term. Maybe in the short term, if you're a smart guy, you can, excel faster. But in the long term, he said, your company's now old enough to drink. Not so many people can say that, right? And so, Fabian, man, before you got into insurance, man, take us back in the time machine, right? What was little Fabian like growing up? Because I know everyone's interested because you got into business and entrepreneurship pretty early on. And so, like, was that always like Fabian, like even from like a birth?
Yeah, so I was always a challenger. I would always question why you do things that way. Do it this way. Like now in my 40s, I'm 44 and I look good. Just kidding, guys. I'm getting over a huge cold. I lost a bunch of weight that I didn't want to lose. But no, I remember being little and always pushing the envelopes in class with my peers, with my neighbors. They were like, Fabian's always thinking of something different. He looks at things different. I grew up in Caracas, Venezuela, in a setting very similar to like the Upper West Side, just middle class people, a lot of businesses. I grew up around a lot of entrepreneurs. And that's kind of where I got I used to go to the store and want to bring people out. I was like the helper at the register. When I used to get out of school, I used to run to sell the fruit pops that I made the night before, because I know all my friends didn't like the fruit pops from the store. They weren't sweet. They didn't have all the flavors all the time, and they were too expensive. They couldn't afford it. So every night, hidden from my mom, I would make like juice pops, freeze them, and go back and sell them.
Yeah.
Fast forward, got a little older. I was just telling my mom, why do we work for other people? Let's just start a restaurant, right? Being young, that's like the number one thing you kind of see. Everyone needs to eat, right? Back in the 90s, there wasn't such a food scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, you could make a cool Spanish restaurant, right? Now there's thousands of them. But back in the 90s, there wasn't that too many bistros and things like that.
This is back in Venezuela, or this is here?
I did a mixture of both. So the ice pops, being highly entrepreneurial, being around a lot of European migrants who own businesses in Venezuela was kind of how I got rooted into like, be your own entrepreneur. These are the people I saw every day on my way to school. Being here was more like, hey, I really don't want to rent. I really hate to see my dad work just to pay the rent. And I really hate to be in this unfinished basement. Why don't we, do something for our own? And my family always was like, no, we got to work harder. So I was like, no. Being a young man, I was like, I know it's going to have to be me to change that course. And that's what got me into insurance and to go on very early into a profession.
Yeah. So you got into insurance. Now, was that like the first thing that you jumped into and then ran with? Because as my journey, like I got into real estate, that's how we met. Right. And but then that turned into social media, and then eventually, as you know, that turned into AI. So it's like I bounced around a little bit before I found something that was me. So like, was insurance that the first thing you just hit it on the first try, or like was there a couple other things you bounced around with?
So I'm gonna bounce back before I got into insurance. I was under my parents' back. I was applying for jobs, shoveling snow, working for landscaping companies for cash. So aside from being entrepreneurial, I like being very independent. Yeah. In a good way. I never took well to structure around me. I always like to do my own thing. Yeah. So in order to do my own thing, I had to generate my own income behind my parents' back. When my father found out, he went to this employer and was like, he didn't have my authority to work. He went to all the people that found out they were paying me to cut their lawn to tell them to stop cutting my lawn. As a punishment, he had me go and work for his insurance agent for free so I can learn a lesson that as a young person, I should not be working. I should be building skill. So he used to be an commercial insurance broker in Venezuela. He always used to, have something to talk about every time he went to the agency. So he said, listen, my son is a junior in high school. He's 16 years old. He finishes school at 1. He can be here by 2. He made me quit sports, and he can work because he wants to work. Well, I don't want him to work. I want him to intern. So I interned for free my whole junior and senior year at an insurance agency as a punishment, and I loved it. I loved the interaction with the people. I found insurance so valuable because people didn't know about it. Yeah. So I found it valuable, the little bit I knew and what I picked up at 16 years old. People would be like, oh, the young kid, I was here last month. He told me I can shop around at my year end, or I can add my daughter as a driver. Like, he educated me so much on things. So I will orbit around the waiting area. Back then, people used to go in person to pay the insurance. And I would, kind of host the people in the waiting area after I was done with all my filing work. And then I just loved it. It was it was the combination of being valuable with knowledge people didn't know. And I'm a people person. Yeah, so it was a perfect combination. I would never thought, you asked me, I would never thought about it. Yeah. As a young man, I used to be like, I'll never wear a tie to work. And I was so proud to tie that knot all the way up to and it was just a motivation.
That's dope. So you got a punishment, which ended up turning out to be one of the biggest blessings, if not maybe the biggest blessing outside of family. Blessing, right?
My father pats himself in the back for punishing me.
All right, so dope. So you got into the business. You got into business very early on, and so by 23, you open up your own spot. And so a lot of people from the outside looking in will be like, damn, he opened up his own spot at 23. Must be nice. He's doing
major, and I represent that company now. Allstate, it was an Allstate franchise. Yeah. So think about it. Back to the early 2000s, late 90s, no one. It's a different environment now, but it was very, very hard for you to represent a major franchise. Right? They had very cookie cutter requirements. 4 years of college, lots of recommendations, X amount of money in the bank. Guess what? I didn't have not one of them.
and you made it work.
I made it work.
And the dope part is, but like the point I was trying to get at too is like most people from the outside looking in would be like, oh, you know, it must be nice for him. He's, you know, young and entrepreneur, but like they don't see that you were in the industry since 16. So by the time you open up your own spot, you already had 7 years in.
7 years.
7 years ahead of most people, where most people come out of college and then maybe they just get into it, right? Or it's like you already had 7 years, and your dad was also in insurance. It's like now it's not just you. It's like your dad has wisdom probably.
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood, right? It was meant to be. All right, so you were growing your business, and I remember we were talking, and so I know the story kind of personally because we've spoken tons of times. But like for anyone that's listening, I know once you open up Fabian Durango agency, the first official office for that was kind of opened up during the recession, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was right before 03. So I opened up in 03 Allstate. You're right.
Yeah.
But the real broker, so we found ourselves so quickly. Insurance is very complex, right? There's different kind of insurance for everyone. Being that we serve the real estate community, the Hispanic community, entrepreneurs, we couldn't use a franchise company because our clients had a lot of needs that Allstate couldn't meet. So we then made the hard decision 5 years in to go fully and 100% independent in late 07.
Yeah,
that was not planned due to the recession and the market crash, and that was just like, hey, we need to reinvent ourselves. I was like, I'm still in my late 20s. This is the time to take risks. Because, I mean, mind you, everybody was like, you're crazy leaving a secure position with this company. You're the number one this, the rookie that, 5 years in a row, ringleader, whatever. And I was like, those are just titles a corporation gives you. I'm not meeting my community expectations. Dropped everything, started from zero. A lot of blessings, a lot of resources, but again, from zero. I couldn't call those clients or nothing back. I had to build from zero. And Durango started in late 07, early 08, and unfortunately the recession hit. Yeah.
So talk to me, because like, I mean, from an early age, like something that you've been, the common theme here you mentioned is like there's always been a gap in the market that you've always been looking for. Like you mentioned when your friends wanted the fruit pops, right? They were too expensive at the store and they didn't taste good. So what you do, you figure out a solution for it, right? When you're thinking about talking to your mom about, food, everyone needs to eat. Why not open up a restaurant? So like from very early on, you had this like ability to see gaps and be creative enough to figure out solutions to fill those gaps. So like I think that's also been one of my big skills too, is like I just been able to jump on opportunities when they're there and see them. And like, so how did you develop that skill? Was it like kind of innate? Because I know
I would say it's just instinct.
Yeah,
it just goes along with my personality, my vision. We all see things different, right? I think we'll go with my vision. I still to this day tell when I meet my staff every week is we're doing something amazing because we're fulfilling needs.
Yeah,
we're not out there calling people telling them, hey, we could save you money on insurance. We don't do any outbound. We do inbound. Why? Because we market ourselves in a way that we can fulfill the needs. So I'm always looking in a way where I can put myself in a valuable position. And with that vision, with that mindset, I've always looked, like you said, for gaps in the industry, right? Yeah. For example, when I started in 08, when I left Allstate, 80% of my book of business was homeowners insurance. 20% was auto. I had no business clients. Guess what? People were losing their house left and right. Banks weren't financing. There was no closings taking place. Zero closings taking place. I could tell you that. Yeah. And I had to say, okay, well, what are people doing now? Well, people are looking to save money on their car insurance. People are losing their jobs, so they're going entrepreneurial. This new way of entrepreneurship kind of came from many things, positive things, including some negative like COVID. But back then, people had no choice. They lost their banking job. They lost whatever job was related to real estate. And now they had to figure out how to be entrepreneurial, put food on the table. We shifted to small business insurance. We focused our shift. And then we put ourselves in a valuable position in front of people who didn't even know how to start looking for business insurance. At that time, franchises ruled the market. So people were going into the state farms, the Allstates of the world, and being told, no, we don't offer that insurance that you need for your small business. And we were like, we're here. We know it. The owner is hands-on. He knows how to run a business. He will consult you on your business insurance, regardless of what it is. So my key to success is not pitching anything, is providing solutions.
Yeah, I think, Alex Hormozy, the entrepreneur guy?
Yes, we talked about it.
He talked about in one of his videos how, right, if you had a hot dog stand and you can only choose one thing, and he got this, I think it was from a study somewhere else, but I just remember him hearing it, saying it. He was like, if you have a hot dog stand, if you can only choose one thing, you had a genie, like you had one wish to try to make your hot dog the most successful, what would it be? And a lot of people said, oh, I want to have the number one hot dogs. Oh, I want to have the fastest hot dog. I want to have the most hot dog. I want to have the biggest stand. Whatever, all these different things. They were all like technically not right answers, but wrong answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like the teacher, I guess, whatever, was like, the most important thing you can have is a starving crowd, right? Because even if your hot dogs are, the best, but no one's hungry, well, no one's going to buy them, right? And so it's like you got yourself in front of an audience that needed what you had, instead of trying to create something and pitch it to people, as you were saying. Nah, you had the solution. All you need to do is just find where the people were at.
Right.
And so it's like, that was genius. And it kind of segues into my next question, too, because I see you all everywhere, right? Over the past, as I said earlier, I've probably seen you at maybe 50 events.
Right.
And that's not even exaggerating. I've seen you so many times everywhere. And this is Stanford. This is Jersey. I've seen you in New York. I see you all over.
So that means you're all over the place.
Sometimes,
I love it. I love it.
But there's a quote that I just want to hear your thoughts on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote, it's a Drake quote. It's I wish you would learn to love people and use things and not the other way around.
Right.
And so like I want to hear like that for me has always been like at the core of like meeting people and connecting with people. It's just like, who do I align with and run with that, regardless of what whatever they can provide me, or if they can even provide me anything.
Right.
I just want to go just live, hang with dope people, connect with dope people, talk to dope people all the time. So like for you, like you've been going to events since forever, and you've probably met a ton of people where the conversation was just awful or awkward.
I'll tell you my best, the key to my success.
Yeah.
Well, my first key, let me rephrase this. Back in 2003, I opened my agency September 1. The Stanford Hispanic Chamber of Commerce had their Christmas party. I was late. I showed up at 10 because I was still in the office, right? Yeah. I'm a new business, 60 days in. But one of the realtors kept calling me, why are you not here? Why are you not? You need to come. I'm like, no, I'm working in the office till like 1, 2 a.m. because there was no technology. Everything was one screen, one computer, no email, no nothing. So she's like, no, you need to come. Look at this, guys. I walk in, Victor Roman, Century 21, had a table with about 50 agents. He grabs me and goes, I'm so proud of you, all the work you've done as a young man, young entrepreneur. He literally fired his insurance guy that night and walked me to every single agent and said, from now on, you send this guy business. Now, I didn't ask for that. I didn't expect that. That's the last thing I expected. I've never been nervous to meet people. I was kind of nervous to meet 50 agents all in one setting. It was my first time, even though I'd been networking prior. And fast forward now, I go to an event where everyone knows me. Let's say 70% of people in the room know me and 30 don't. I never pitch. It's about meeting dope people, like you said, connecting with them and seeing synergy. I actually have one guy who tells me all the time at the mortgage convention. No, last year he said at the mortgage convention, I was like, I'm a little mad. I'm like, what? All these years you see me at the mortgage convention, you never asked me for business. Why? I don't give it to you. I said, I take no offense. Do I have to ask?
Yeah.
Like we've been to dinners, we sat down, we had a few drinks, we shared values, we cracked jokes, we like the same women, I'm married, by the way, but you're looking, just being real, right? Like, what do I have to pitch you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had referred on people that I thought were, because he's up in Hartford, who I thought were a good fit for him. So I was like, I don't think when you meet people, you necessarily have to be like, so, who's in your Rolodex I can work with, but it's more, where's the synergy and everything comes natural, like this podcast, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%, because a lot of networking events I started going to, real estate events, now that I'm out the industry, like when you're sipping the Kool-Aid, there's a lot of things that kind of go over your head until like, now, and then as I started like stepping back a little bit, and now it's like I go, And there's so many things I see, and it's like, man, even when I was in the industry, there's things I took note of, but like the way a lot of people network and connect nowadays is awful.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time this lady, and like I hate when people touch my hair. I think I probably told you
yes,
1,000 times.
yes.
Like I genuinely despise when people touch my hair. There's one lady at a family reunion. I don't know if it's family reunion or mega camp, but like the lady came up from behind me, like scrunched up my hair, and then proceeded to like pass me her business card and try to make conversation with me. Mind you, the shirt that I was wearing just so happened to say "Stop and stare, just don't touch the hair." And she read it
that shirt.
and didn't make a comment about it and didn't apologize.
They didn't even realize it. Wow.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many people just suck at networking, and a lot of people think it's like, oh, you get here's my card, you should call me, without ever actually shaking my hand or introducing themselves. Like, hey, like, or they'll walk up to like, let's
this is a classic.
Yo.
What are you doing?
You ever been?
I'm like, that's a new thing now. You see somebody, I showed up, I paid the $35.
No.
Let me give you get to know somebody, ask them what they do. You just connect with somebody.
I remember one event I went to, someone came extra early and put her cards on all of the seats. And it's just like, I don't care. I'm putting it on the floor and I'm not picking it up.
Right.
No one told her to do that.
Right.
I never even seen that person. Right. I don't know whose card it was. I just remember going and sitting down. I'm just like, there's no way. And there was no one in sight. So she had to have come like extra early.
Right.
So like, I mean, I guess kudos to her for waking up early. Like,
right.
Credit her, but like, that is the wrong way. You could have had so much bigger of an ROI if you just woke up early and talked to like 2 or 3 people.
Or been there early. When you're there early, the cool thing is you get to connect with people.
Yeah.
And then be able to meet and see more people than when I show up a little late.
Yeah, no worries. So let me ask you now, because now you started into. I mean, we talked before a couple times, and now you're getting to the role where it's like, I mean, you've been killing the game for so long. There's only so much more you can accomplish for yourself, and now it's more so building out the team, bringing up people underneath you, bringing up the company, important. And like, so like, how has that been? And especially because when you started the business, you didn't have a whole family as well. So it's like now you have so many things outside of business that you're fighting for as well. So it's like, what kind of like role are you in now? Because I mean, I still see you all the time at these events, but it's like now
I'm passing the torch, man. I'm passing the torch, and I don't want to just do it to one person, even though I think one person comes to mind, Jasmine. You know? Me and my kids like, why is Jasmine always around? It's like Jasmine's being mentored not only in insurance but in life, how to be a good individual, how to be a person of value, and she sees that in me and my wife Gabriella, in our team, and Raisa, who's been with me 15 years, my sister-in-law that works with me, my dad. So she's the next one up. We're passing the torch. And we're also realizing that this is not a one-man pass down. We got 4 or 5 other torches, and we believe that everyone brings something different to the table. So I've been challenging my team just to step up more, get out of the comfort zone. I'm always finding a way to be out of my comfort zone at all levels, even though it stresses me now. I'm a little older, but I like being outside the comfort zone. And hopefully pass. It does. It definitely does. And now I want the team to kind of take the company to the next level, where it's acquisition, state growth, because we've grown, being able to reinvent technology, process, procedures. Like, I don't want to head that. I know what needs to be done. Yeah. They always tell me, but I know what to say. I know what to do. I don't want to do it. Your job, your project. Go and get that money. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Because with the work comes the money. Yeah.
And so let me ask you this too. So like as you're entering this new stage of business, where it's like I said, the torch is kind of in the process of being passed. Like, how do you keep the vision alive? Because as I said, the business has been around for 21 years. I'm sure it changed and morphed of multiple times with the recession, with the pandemic, with all the stuff in between. Right? So it's like, how do you keep the vision alive? Especially because I said you're at a place where it's like, it's not from a necessity anymore. Like, you don't need this to like live. Right now, you have reached a point where all right, the business is growing. It's not like your back's always kind of against the wall, but it's not like when you're first starting out and it's like, I have no money and it's against the wall. Right? I gotta make it work. So like, how do you keep that fire alive for this long?
Well, I challenge myself on a personal level, because if I'm not challenged and uncomfortable on a personal level, then I won't bring any type of motivation or energy to the table in the business. So first of all, I have to put myself against the wall. On a personal level, so I can come and push everyone in the office. Second of all, I mean, thank God I'm in an industry where we succeed by pretty much helping others. So our success comes out of assisting others. So I'm educating my staff, and I'm making them the mission of that we impact lives. We're not just selling insurance policies. We could be impacting somebody's lives. We're educating people, and we're resourceful. I was like, if that alone doesn't motivate you, then it might not be a good fit for you. And that's why I tell people up front when I first hire them, this is a people business. We impact people. We impact lives. We can make or break somebody if we just out here selling. So my senior staff have seen that more and more. And I said, it's not how many policies you sell. It's how many lives you impact, how many people you educate, how many problems you avoid. You don't know, like, I know it's a little bit over time, but I don't spend most of my day talking about insurance. Yeah. I spend my day speaking about everything else and how insurance relates to it, so people make the right educated decision. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to buy this car and register in Montana to do a hack. And you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to buy this owner occupied, but I'm going to split it in 10 and make it Airbnb. Cool. You know, let's talk about the consequences of that. Let me give you my spleen. Let me give you what happens when that goes wrong. You have $500,000 to say, hey, it's a risk I'm willing to take because $500,000 ain't nothing to me. Or trying to make an extra $500 a month on that hack. Now it's costing you your well-being. So I spend most of my day honestly assessing people's needs, assessing people's goals, assessing people's...
You're consulting pretty much.
Yeah.
You're consulting.
I'm consulting, and then just adding 20% of conversations, just adding the insurance factor.
Yeah, but
I'm making my team more understanding. Like, you're a consultant. Like my senior people, I call them consultants. Yeah. You know, it happens that you quote and you service insurance, but you're truly a consultant.
Yeah, because what a consultant does is like you just figure out what people need and point them in the right direction.
Correct. Now, I wish I could just get paid for my time on that. Just kidding.
Hey, you no one said you can't.
I know.
No one said you can't.
I do it for Main Street America. I can't even picture being charged. Now, for a major insurance company, a major corporation, definitely need some insurance consulting, risk management. I'm very well versed in that. Yeah. I love fun projects. I built insurance products for insurance agencies. And I'm just joking, but I have been hired by some corporations just to do some risk assessment. Like, hey, we want you to look at this that we're doing. We're willing to pay you this much just to look at it, or travel, come to California, look at our operation. Just tell us what you think. So those have been fun projects here and there, and I love it. Maybe that's my next path, so I can pass the torch down to the team that's been there since day one.
Yeah, I think one of the cool parts too about like teaching or consulting and or coaching even is like by helping others, you help yourself in a way. Because like something, especially for like us like visionary, creative type people. Like we have all our thoughts, and in our own head it makes sense, and then we go tell that to someone else, and then you can see the look on their face. We're like, what are you talking about? And it makes no sense to them. So like by forcing yourself to teach somebody, it helps you organize your thoughts in a way that makes more sense to you, because it already makes sense in your own head. Everything makes sense in our head, right?
Of course.
But like now it makes even more sense to you, but then also makes sense to everyone around you. Now you can pass on that structure.
I thought I just came in my 40s, man. I got people, I swear to you, that I do business with, that I've grown a tight personal relationship. I could call them family. That one thing that they say is, I used to question you. I don't question you anymore. I thought you were crazy, right? Because I always looked at things different. People always question me. I got used to that. And then now they're like, no, you know, finally I reached that stage where people respect what I want. But one thing being a young entrepreneur, a motivation was proving people wrong. No, my crazy idea is the right idea. Now it's frustrating, but it's motivating too.
So let me ask you, because you mentioned this, the kind of thing, this is another theme I've been hearing around our entire conversation, is like, you always had this tendency to think outside the box, right? And people always had this tendency to question you for thinking outside the box, right? And so it's like, there's a quote I love. It's heavy as a crown, right? And so it's like, not everyone. I feel like everyone has it in them to be entrepreneurial. I think everyone has the innate ability to, dream and think, and that's all we're really doing. We're just being visionary. We're just putting something that's in our head, but we bring it out into the world. I think everyone has that in them. I think a lot of people just get it suppressed, and then either A, never, ever you reawaken it, or B, take too long to have it reawaken.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, for me, as I said, I wasn't entrepreneurial growing up, but once the pandemic hit, my eyes opened up a little bit, and boom, now I'm in the game. And so it's like, back to the quote, like, heavy is the crown. It's just like, how are you able to persevere through that? Because, I mean, at first it's like, okay, they maybe don't believe in me, but like after some time, it's just like you constantly having to prove people wrong and prove the doubters, and sometimes even prove it to yourself, because sometimes business gets hard and then you lose that confidence.
Yeah, you gotta they could do it. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta reprove it to yourself that you're him, that you're that guy, that same guy, that killer. Mm-hmm. It's like, so how have you been able to push through and persevere when it's gotten dark, when it's gotten tough, and you felt alone?
Just remembering that my darkest moments brought the brightest days after. Mm-hmm. Just very simple. Just understanding bad times don't last forever, but putting that pressure on me to make sure the sunshine come out. Now, the sunshine, I don't just wait for it, but I don't just sit like this, say, let this time pass. No, I'm punching, I'm screaming, I'm kicking, and I'm searching for that light. Mm. And I know that process is going to be tough. It used to be very motivational as a young man. Right now, it's a little frustrating. I'm like, I shouldn't be going through this. But it's motivational and rewarding to know that once you fight for the light, you will find it. I also know that if I sit down in darkness, I will just sink.
Yeah.
So it's also a positive fear factor. I don't fear anything but God, but it's a fear to just sit and let things happen.
You can't pray for better days, right, and then not do nothing about it.
Correct.
And it affect the better days.
You got to work for that prayer.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to work for that prayer.
100%.
Que sea lo que Dios quiera, no. Dios te va a bendecir lo que tú trabajas.
For anyone that doesn't speak Spanish, it's pretty much saying God is going to give you what you're working for, not what you're praying for. Right? You got to put the work behind it. I agree 100%. I think too, like being a Christian myself, like it kind of helped me as an entrepreneur, because I know, like, even in the days where it gets tough, if I truly believe that He has my best interest at heart, it kind of gives you that ability to just like, just go for it. And just jump off and go into the unknown and kind of figure it out. Because, at the end of the day, it's like, it's either going to work out or it's going to teach you something to help the next thing work out. And it's just like, either way, you're still winning. Yep. But sometimes when it doesn't work out at first, it gets tough, because sometimes it's like 5 things back to back don't work out. And then you're on a losing streak. And it's like, all right, how do I get back to winning? How do I get back on the right track, man? Now, Fabian, where can we connect with you? I mean, we see you everywhere, but for anyone listening that might not be in Connecticut, where can we find you at? Where can we connect with you so we can get more about Fabian Durango and learn more about insurance as well?
Excellent. Follow me on social media, LinkedIn, Fabian Durango, Facebook, Fabian Durango, Durango Agency or Durango Insurance. So you can find us on Instagram at Durango Insurance or Durango Agency. But follow my personal page. You can text me anytime, 203-667-9953. It doesn't have to be insurance related. If you're starting a business, you need some motivation, you need some guidance. If you want to shoot me a question, text me, 203-667-9953. And I will just say, I will attest to the testimony of perseverance. This young man was talking about AI and talking about podcasts when it wasn't cool. And you stuck with it. And I know you overcame a lot of hurdles, how you expressed them to me. And when you really want something, go and effing get it.
100%.
And put God first, and then go get it.
Like for this podcast, so we're literally today for anyone listening, it's December 17th currently. We're 2 days away from our 3-year anniversary.
Wow.
And we just hit 250 episodes this past Sunday. It's like, when you talk about perseverance, that's the stuff that most people never see, right?
Right.
They just see like, oh, like one day it'll hit. And they're like, oh, John must be nice. You're young and got this. But it's like, man, no one sees the dark days. Right. Or should they, right? It's none of their business, right? It's just battles that we have to fight alone sometimes, right?
Right.
But it's like, as you said, like perseverance is sticking through it. In the end, like, it's inevitable.
But that's also what makes you connect, because I know what you've been through to be here.
100%.
And that makes our bond even stronger.
100%.
You know what I mean? So your story, your path, those that can relate, you will connect with, and that's what means, you level up and you meet with people at your level. I'm pretty sure most of the people that criticize you are nowhere near where you are, at least in your field where you want to be.
Yeah.
I haven't found somebody that's doing better than me criticize my work, because they will never criticize. They will encourage you and give you ideas to do better.
100%. I think criticism only comes from the bottom.
Yep.
And that's not to say that I'm, a super successful entrepreneur yet, but no matter what stage you're at, I feel like the people criticizing the people who are not doing.
Yep, they're not doing it. They're not doing it, and they don't have the knowledge. It's easy just to criticize.
100%. So Fabian, now it's time for our famous 5 questions. Same 5 questions I ask every single guest that hops on.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1: what is the most impactful lesson you've learned in life?
There's nothing wrong with starting over. I've started over in my business when I left Allstate. I left my 15-year-old comfortable home, fully paid for, to go into a crazy mortgage and a new neighborhood and a new life, and I did that on purpose.
What is the most admirable trait a person can have?
People skills.
If you had to change someone's life but only had one book to recommend, which would it be?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
What is the legacy you're working on leaving behind?
The legacy I'm working on leaving behind. There's no limits, and you can take everyone with you as long as you believe in yourself, you believe in God.
And for anyone that wants to embark on their walk to wealth today, what is the very first step you recommend they take?
Talk to a tax expert.
Hey, that's the first time I might have heard that, so that's good advice. I interviewed a lot of people, so.
I'm telling you from experience.
Fabian, thank you so much for hopping on today, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here, and looking forward to 2025, man.
Thank you. Likewise. Looking forward to 2025. Congrats to you, everyone. Have a healthy new year.